While some fishermen are still locked in battle with sea monsters, others, who have had less luck, are giving it away for the day. The sheltered waters close to the island have proven unproductive, and the yellowfin are out in the open, where the sea has become far too rough for most of the small boatmen. All of the boats will be left on the beach overnight, ready for the final day of fishing. By now, the boys have the boat problem wired, and a combination of rubber rollers and muscle power does away with the need for a ramp. But that's just a temporary measure. Sooner or later, those boats will have to come up off the beach, and this is just a preview of the problems that lie ahead. As the boats start to return, the lie detector is running hot. By mid-afternoon, this fish is good enough to lead the point score, but he won't stay there for long. Now, who said there were no big kings about? The fish is big enough to do the job, but the tackle was too heavy to earn the winning points. Tough luck, Ralph. At a weigh-in like this, a nice flathead is dwarfed into insignificance by the monsters around him. And when you are a small fisherman, everything looks big. Country people have a reputation for generosity, and that reputation held true at Narooma. With a regular traffic jam building up at the water's edge, Farmer Brown zipped down out of the hills and did a good Samaritan with his trusty tractor, a service that was very much appreciated as trailers bogged down in the deep sand. Not everyone had the patience to wait their turn with a tractor. This guy just couldn't wait to see who had the biggest fish up on the board. Now that's the quick way to give up smoking. A difficult fishing situation adds a little dash of relish to the competition for some anglers. Others choose to forget the competition altogether and just enjoy the day doing their own thing.
We went out primarily after kingies, a few kingies, but they were too small and the current was running a bit too fast. So we decided to do a bit of a drift for some quality edible fish, so we picked up a few snapper. They're fairly small, the current started to run a bit fast, and we had to anchor up and muck around a lot, but we managed to pick up a few mowies and snapper and a few decent edible fish. There's quite a few boats out there. We were mainly jigging and live baiting for kingies, big tuna. Things are not the best.
And out on the open sea, this incredible fight continues on into the afternoon. The fish has already been chased well out to sea, and now he's passing close by the island again before starting out in a new direction. Wind and sea are still building, and before this is all over, those fellows on the trawler are going to start to wonder if it's all worthwhile. They seem to think they may be starting to get somewhere and call on us for the loan of a big flying gaff. I don't mind lending them the gaff, but I can't say I like the idea of taking our little boat in under that big trawler in these seas. When you go right on fishing in a sea like this, you deserve something for the effort, and Hanstead has invested a lot of time and effort in this fish. He knows that his first fish has already been topped, and this is going to be his last chance to head the point score at the end of the day. He also knows that the way the weather is going, there may be no second day of competition. And there he is. He's very close to 100 for sure, but how close? He has to beat 113 to be a winner. Win, lose or draw, Wayne has had his share of fisherman's luck today, and he certainly looks confident about the outcome. As one story ends on a happy note with a confident crew heading back for the weigh-in, another story ends in disaster and defeat. With the fish in sight and almost ready for the gaff, he takes one last run, the line touches the boat for 1 second, and that's all there is to it. But the sad stories are only just beginning. If you guessed the weight of Wayne's first fish at 91 pounds, you were spot on. His second fish was only 5 pounds bigger, giving him third place in the day's point score. The dark horse of the competition was yellowfin specialist Werner Kosman. Out of sight and out of mind all day long, Werner shook the whole camp when he rolled in with this magnificent 133-pound tuna taken on 20-pound line. Almost a 7-to-1 capture that puts him a mile ahead on points at the end of the first day. In a day of competition that turned into a game of fishing strategy, the big fish specialists have had a field day. These are the fish that have to be beaten tomorrow, and they are going to take a lot of beating. Everyone catches something to talk about at Narooma. A nice kingfish, a big wahoo, and a hammerhead shark that will be an Australian line class record for a very casual fisherman.
I had a big kingfish. Sweet fella.
With the lie detector safely covered up for the night, it's party time, and monster fishtails run rampant through the camping area. None of the fish caught are wasted. Today's tuna will become tomorrow's burley, and everything else goes on ice or is dealt with in a more immediate fashion. A fisherman's camp can be a fibber's paradise, but at Narooma, the truth is usually impressive enough. A certain amount of internal lubrication is considered essential after a day in the sun, but king-size thirsts are tempered somewhat by the sobering thought of having to face up to that sea again first thing in the morning. If one topic dominates conversation, it's yellowfin tactics. Tomorrow, everyone will have to fish yellowfin to stand a chance in this comp. It helps to know what the opposition has on the board, but there's only one thing you really need to know. To win, you have to take a yellowfin of 134 pounds on 20-pound line. Come Sunday morning, and last night's plans, tactics and schemes are all blown away in a screaming 30-knot wind from the south. The Narooma convention is all over, and Saturday's winners become outright winners. Wow, what happened to all those happy faces we saw last night? You can't blame them for feeling a bit down in the dumps. A soggy hamburger is hardly any kind of substitute for a day out on the open sea, battling oversized game fish. The final results go up on the board, and Werner Kosman is the man of the moment. It's not a new experience for Werner. His dedication and expertise in the big fish field have put him into the winner's circle many times in the past, and he'll be there again in the future. Werner makes a good winner. He doesn't give two hoots about trophies or applause. All he cares about is the fish and the challenge it represents. There was one special prize, but nobody wanted to accept it in front of the camera.
Championship score. So that'll have to
There's just no way you can stop sport fishermen from having a good time. They'll fish and catch fish under almost any conditions, and by the time they get back home, they'll have forgotten all about the wind, the rain and the mud, and remember only the day of sunshine and the big fish. Ours is the last boat off the beach, and the way that track is going, it may be just as well the last boat is out. Two farmers who have nothing to do with the competition have stood by with their tractors since Saturday, hauling boats out for people they have never met before and may never meet again. The Narooma competition generates that sort of goodwill. The competitors are nice people, and the good vibes just seem to spread. Werner Kosman and Terry Atkinson leave Narooma in high spirits. but they're not through with fishing yet for a while. They have a 600-kilometre drive ahead of them, and the road runs along the coast all the way. There's no way they'll get home without stopping off to wet a line somewhere. Werner and Terry are so predictable, we had no trouble at all catching up with them. We only had to stop off at the first hot spot north of Narooma to find them catching live bait for another outing. Good live bait is the answer for big yellowfin. To be a yellowfin expert, you first need to be an expert at tiddler fishing. So it's off to sea again. Another miserable day, but if the big fish cooperate, we won't care too much about the weather. Although Werner really loves his yellowfin, he won't pass up any kind of game fish. When we spot a few cruising fins, he runs out a couple of shark lines as well as the live bait rigs. By the time the baits are all out, the water is alive with sharks, and it's soon obvious that today is going to be sharks or nothing. Here's the first of them, several 100 pounds of bronze whaler and bad temper. When you take the wire on these fish, it's amazing how much power they can exert without appearing to put any effort into it. Remember the old comic book heroes who could knock out 3 villains with one punch? Well, just watch this shark. Who said sharks don't read comics? Some cry when they lose a fish. We like to laugh. When fishing stops being fun, it's time to give it away. You lose a few and you win a few. That's Werner's motto. Some days are just for fun, other days you try a little harder. People who have never fished for sharks seem to think they don't fight much. Now, how much more action do they really want out of a fish? Werner Kosman is a big fish specialist, but at heart, just a fisherman. No more so than a small boy on a jetty in a world of his own, no less so than a man at peace with his favourite river. A fisherman's world is an intensely personal thing, a world where man can test his endurance and stamina to the limits, a world in which he can pit his skills against the primitive instincts of a great game fish. Or perhaps it's just a private world, where one man can find his own special kind of peace. To my way of thinking, until something better comes along, a fisherman's world is my kind of world.